Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon.
The time is 10 a.m.
And good morning. Thank you for tuning into the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Dory, and I'm here with Sarah, and we invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. And additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, visit www.reader.com springfield.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And we start off with a very sad story from Christian County. This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. 3 people were seriously burned early Sunday at a bonfire. There was a group of friends, and someone poured gasoline on the bonfire, according to Ozark Fire Chief Jarrett Matheny. And we see a picture of 2 of the people who were seriously injured, Gabe McDaniel and Aubrey Dye. 3 people in total were burned at this private bonfire early Sunday morning, April 19th in Sparta, when someone poured gasoline on the blaze and one of the victims faces life-threatening injuries. The incident happened between 4 and 5 a.m. in the 400 block of Sundance Drive in Sparta in Christian County, according to Jarrett Matheny, chief of the Ozark Fire Protection District. Quote, "One was a very serious burn," Matheny told the Springfield Daily Citizen Tuesday afternoon, April 21st. There were 4 or 5 people at the bonfire when the people were burned, Matheny said. There was a group of friends at a bonfire, and someone poured some gasoline on it. He said, "We have no evidence at all that anything was intentional. But if you could add one thing for me," Matheny said, "please tell people to be very careful with open fire." Brad Cole, Christian County Sheriff, told the Daily Citizen that those at the bonfire knew each other and his office is investigating. The next headline read, 1 victim works at Ozarks Refuse, a trash hauler based in Willard. Friends tell the Daily Citizen that 2 of the victims, Gabe McDaniel and Aubrey Dye, a couple. Facebook post by Ozarks Refuse, a trash service based in Willard, where McDaniel works, have detailed the injuries to McDaniel and his girlfriend Dye. The posts have been asking for prayers for their recovery. Monday, the company posted that Dye was in a medically induced coma with 3rd-degree burns. The McDaniel had burns to his hands, legs, and face. The company also has set up a GoFundMe account for them with a goal of $40,000, and as of 7 p.m. Tuesday, the 21st, a little over $22,000 had been raised. A Facebook post by a family member of Dye stated her injuries are life-threatening. And according to the GoFundMe post, quote, "This young couple is full of joy and positivity. Both have smiles and attitudes that could light up a room. They started dating nearly a year ago and have been inseparable since. Both love camping and spending time outdoors, so they couldn't wait for spring and summer to arrive so they could enjoy each other's company while hiking and camping around the Missouri Ozarks." Gabe is a trash collector in the Springfield, Missouri area. Customers on his trash route constantly email and call his bosses complimenting his friendly nature and hard work ethic. The GoFundMe post also said that Aubrey works with adults with cerebral palsy. The company's Facebook post on Monday stated a gasoline can at the bonfire exploded. Late Tuesday afternoon, the company posted that McDaniel was in a lot of pain after skin grafts to his hands and legs, but, quote, was staying positive. This was an article by Steve Pokin. Sarah?
Good morning from the Springfield News-Leader. Good news, it's back. The musical Wicked has returned to Springfield for an 8-show run from April 22nd to 26th at Juanita K. Hammonds Hall, 525 South John Q. Hammonds Parkway. Tickets are available online at hammondshall.com. Crews unloaded and began setting up the set, scenery, and equipment starting April 20th. Local media were invited to attend the load-in on April 21st. Everything travels in 13 semi-trailer trucks as the company tours around the nation, according to company manager Steve Quinn. Quinn has been with Wicked for more than 20 years, including for its initial Springfield engagement in 2016. "I love bringing Broadway to America. I think it's nice that you can have a full Broadway show in your own backyard. You don't have to deal with New York prices and New York hotels," Quinn said. "It's nice to have that experience for people to see their first Broadway show here in Springfield and then hopefully come and see more." And there's a picture of the stage preparation. Josh Inman, Associate Director of Hammonds Hall, said the show's initial run helped bring bigger shows to Springfield. "Wicked was our first big Broadway blockbuster that came to Springfield. We had it in for 2016 for 2 weeks, and it really laid the foundation for these big shows that have come since," Inman said. Hamilton, Phantom of the Opera, Disney's The Lion King, all made possible because Springfield brought us into bringing Wicked for 2 weeks. To have it back here is really exciting. We're really proud of it, and we're excited for Springfield to experience Wicked again.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Police are leading regional Blue Envelope program launch. And a couple of key points of this, the Blue Envelope program is meant to make interactions safer between law enforcement and people with disabilities or communication challenges. An envelope or card will indicate the person's communication needs and can be handed to a police officer during a traffic stop. Springfield Police Department is leading the program's region-wide launch. The Springfield Police Department announced on Monday, April 20th, that it will be leading the regional effort to improve interactions between law enforcement and people with disabilities or communication challenges. SPD, along with the Ozarks, Nixa, Hollister, and Indian Point Police Departments, is launching the Blue Envelope program in the Ozarks. Quote, by launching the Blue Envelope program together with regional law enforcement partners, we're strengthening safety and understanding across the Ozarks. Springfield Police Chief Paul Williams said during the news conference, this is a community-driven effort sponsored or supported by organizations that work every day with individuals who may benefit most from the program. We're proud to lead an initiative that helps ensure every interaction with law enforcement is handled with clarity, dignity, and compassion. And here's what you need to know about the program, who it benefits, and why it's important. And what follows is a picture of a person outlining just those points at a recent news conference. Quote, what is the Blue Envelope program? It's a communication support tool designed to make interactions safer between law enforcement and those with disabilities or communication challenges. According to the National Public Safety Alliance for Individuals with Disabilities, the program is not centralized or organized across the nation, but rather one that agencies around the United States create and implement individually. It's a voluntary program that may not be recognized by all law enforcement agencies. And what follows next is a picture of Springfield Police Chief Paul Williams speaking during the recent press conference announcing the program. The next question is, what does a blue envelope contain in the Ozarks? Well, according to the Springfield Police Department, the envelope will note the person's communication needs. Inside the envelope will be important documents, such as a copy of the person's driver's license, vehicle registration, and proof of insurance, which can be handled directly to an officer during a traffic stop or emergency situation. The information on and in the blue envelope helps officers deliver appropriate assistance quickly and effectively by allowing the officers the opportunity to provide accommodations while still carrying out their duties. And there's also a card people can hand to law enforcement that outlines the communication needs. And now we see pictures actually of the envelopes themselves, and indicating the communication difficulties that people may have. Well, who can benefit from this program? Anyone who has specific communication needs can benefit from the Blue Envelope program. On the outside of the envelope, people can provide personal and medical information that will help facilitate better communication, including if they are deaf or hard of hearing, if they need sign language, they have trouble speaking clearly, perhaps they have stuttering or other physical impairments, they speak limited English. Neurodevelopmental conditions such as autism, mental health conditions, maybe anxiety or PTSD, cognitive neurological impairments such as dementia or a brain injury, uncontrolled movements or sounds such as tics or vocalizations, and also medical-related speech issues from surgery or medication side effects. The next byline, why are these programs important for people with disabilities or communication challenges? People with autism are 7 times more likely to encounter law enforcement officers during their lives than neurotypical people, said Jamie McGranahan, who is the Autism Resource Specialist at ARC of the Ozarks. Hollister Police Department Chief Bert Starwell explained that his adult son is autistic, and he worries daily about how law enforcement may interact with his son or others who have communication challenges. Quote, his behaviors and actions can seem to the untrained eye as strange and odd. That worries me from an officer's perspective because I know how those behaviors would seem to me on a day-to-day basis, even though I live with someone who has autism, Starwell said. Individuals with autism aren't the only ones who may struggle with police interactions. People with serious mental illness are more likely to experience use of force in law enforcement interactions, according to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And a quarter of all fatal police shootings from 2015 through 2025 involved someone with mental illness. The next headline, I use the Blue Envelope program, so what do I need to remember to do? And we see a picture of a police officer at a traffic stop, and the driver is handing him their blue envelope. And according to SPD, people using the program should hand the officer the blue envelope upon request, keep their hands visible at all times, and take a deep breath. Listen carefully to questions. Additionally, like anyone else engaged with a law enforcement officer, they should also remember not to reach for items or leave the scene without permission. Where can I get more information on the Blue Envelope program is our next headline. Blue Envelope program resources, including the envelopes, are available from the Springfield Police Department headquarters at 321 East Chestnut Expressway and the Springfield Police South District Station at 2620 West Battlefield Road during business hours. Uniformed officers will also have resources available. During the press conference, Williams said that community partners like the Arc of the Ozarks, Borough Behavioral Health and Abilities First will also provide Blue Envelope resources to clients.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, Mayor makes changes to Springfield's campaign finance limits plan. A Springfield City Council committee spent months researching and creating systems for how the city could cap the amount donors can contribute to local city candidate campaigns. The proposal to limit campaign contributions is nearing a full council vote, but on Monday night, the ordinance approved in committee was substituted with another, which included several substantial changes by Mayor Jeff Schrag. The overall limits are remaining intact. The ordinance would prohibit individuals or political action committees from contributing more than $2,825 per election cycle to individuals running for Springfield mayor or council seats. Currently, no law or ordinance limits contributions to council candidate campaigns in Springfield, making the Queen City the largest city in Missouri without such caps. The addition of limits has been welcomed by several local groups and drew in 16 speakers at the meeting Monday, April 20th. However, the details of the bill regarding how these limits would be enforced by whom were changed by Schrag. The substance bill brought forth by the mayor was approved in a 7-2 vote with council members Monica Horton and Brandon Jensen in opposition. The bill had not been shared with council members before Monday. And we see here a picture of Jeff Schrag, mayor, participating in a city council meeting. Schrag said his goal with the changes was to align with state law and get rid of duplications from what the Missouri Ethics Commission already oversees. When the mayor was asked why he bypassed the committee process with the changes, he said he had no good excuse for doing that. Here are the changes. Limits with indexed with inflation. While the original ordinance would have strictly capped local campaign contributions at $2,825, the substitute put forth by Schrag makes this the base amount to then be adjusted per the Consumer Price Index every 4 years. This is the same way the state adjusts its contribution limits. Previously, some council members had raised questions about increasing the limit for in-kind donations to be beyond the $2,825. This point was mostly made regarding billboards that are often donated in kind to help candidates with name recognition, but that cost more than that the limit would allow. Both the original and substitute bills still keep in-kind contributions at the same limit. City Attorney Jordan Paul also clarified that the limit would apply to monetary and in-kind contributions combined under the current language. Several speakers addressing council Monday night expressed opposition to carving out in-kind donations to be at a higher limit, raising concerns that doing so would take away from the effectiveness of caps as a whole. While discussed, no amendment was brought forth by council members to add a different limit for in-kind donations. Failure to report punted to Missouri Ethics Commissions. Schrag's proposal removed the failure to report contributions from being a local violation. He noted that already falls under state regulations and is enforced by the MEC. Under state law, the MEC can only take action when it has a quorum and at least 4 affirmative votes are cast. The oversight body has long since struggled with a lack of quorum, which prevents it from adequately addressing ethics complaints. Currently, the 6-member commission has 3 vacancies, with the seats recently reaching their term limits. Both Horton and Jensen, as well as several speakers, were uneasy about removing the local guardrail and leaving enforcement in the hands of the MEC. Jensen had raised questions about adding a provision to allow the city to enforce the failures to report locally if MEC is unable to do so. I hesitate to rely on a body that's not doing its job to regulate us, he said. Enforcement shifted from new commission to existing one. A large portion of the discussions in the Plans and Policies Committee surrounded the enforcement mechanism and ways that the city would efficiently investigate potential violations of the proposed rules without being too onerous on the staff. The committee, with the guidance of the city attorney, decided on a system similar to those present in Kansas City and St. Louis, a city ethics commission. The original ordinance would have created a new 9-person citizen commission appointed by council to oversee election campaign finances and be charged with investigating violations. Schrag's bill instead places this responsibility on the already established Citizens Tax Oversight Committee. The committee reviews and monitors the city's tax revenues. Those serving on the committee tasked with enforcing limits would be precluded from contributing or to participating in any manner in the election campaign of a city candidate while on the committee and for a year afterward. To allow current Citizens Tax Oversight Committee time to resign if they wish to either run for office themselves or support someone in doing so, council added that the bill would become effective 30 days after passage. Complaint rules changed. The new proposal also makes several changes to the complaint system. It clarifies that the complaints of possible violations can only be made by people residing within city limits. Also, as another way to align the ordinance with state proceedings, the new bill would not accept any new complaints nor allow the committee to initiate its own investigation within 15 days before a city election. The new proposal retains a 2-year look-back period, however, for the committee to investigate possible violations. The ordinance brought by Schrag also includes a provision that if the committee has not made a decision within 180 days of a complaint being filed, it will automatically be dismissed. The original proposal did not include an automatic dismissal and also required a written explanation for why the committee needs more than 90 days to issue a decision. While the newest ordinance would still task the committee with issuing a decision within 90 days and allow this time to be extended by another 90 days for good cause shown, it would not require a written statement. Overall, all speakers addressing City Council Monday night were in support of capping the local election contributions. Many emphasized the need to ensure the everyday person feels they are on an equal footing against corporate interests and stay engaged in local politics. We believe campaigns should focus on issues, not fundraising, said Kai Sutton, president of the NAACP chapter. When reasonable limits are in place, candidates can spend more time engaging with voters and addressing real community needs instead of chasing large checks. Elections become about policy solutions, not money. The limits would only apply to city council and mayor races, not school board or county office campaigns. At its next meeting, May 4th, Council will continue its public hearing and is expected to make a final vote on campaign finance limits.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, more details have been revealed about Springfield-based MU School of Medicine. And we see a picture of an overview of a building that Jack Henry and Associates owns. They own the majority of a 36-acre campus in South Springfield, and the University of Missouri has purchased one of the buildings. They did that in November of 2025. Now, the University of Missouri-Columbia has confirmed plans that newly acquired property off Battlefield Road near Highway 65 is going to be the site of its new 4-year medical school, and both Cox Health and Mercy Springfield will be involved in the program's expansion. The university's Board of Curators approved the expansion in September. When the expansion is opened, students will be able to pursue a career as a physician without leaving the Springfield area. The university is hoping to accept cohorts of 32 students in 2027, and by 2030 it hopes to have 128 students in Springfield, bringing its entire enrollment across both campuses to more than 670 students. Currently, Mizzou offers a Springfield program where students can finish their 3rd and 4th years in the city. The first 2 years are spent at the university's Columbia campus. In November, it reached an agreement with Jack Henry and Associates to purchase a 77,000 square foot building located at 3737 East Battlefield Road. Jack Henry still owns and operates the other building on the campus. A ribbon cutting has been set for 4 p.m. on June 24th to commemorate the school's expansion, and according to an invite sent to Springfield public school officials. Before that, in May, the university will open up admissions for prospective students in the 2027-28 academic year. Quote, "This expansion is about more than classrooms and labs. It's about building a healthier future for every Missourian," said Richard J. Barone, Executive Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs and Dean of the School of Medicine. In a press release, he adds, "By training more physicians in Springfield, we're investing in communities and ensuring that quality care is within reach for all." And what follows is a picture of members of the University of Missouri's class of 2026 at their Springfield campus. The new facility will more than triple the space the program has available in Springfield. The medical school is currently operating out of an about 22,000 square foot space at 1845 South National Avenue. Mizzou is a tenant in that building, which is owned by Greystone Court Properties, LLC, according to county records. A spokesperson for the university said that once the Battlefield Road property is ready for students, it will vacate the National Avenue property. According to a press release from the university, leaders with both of Springfield's major hospital networks are on board. Both work with the university to offer clinical rotations for its current medical students. Quote, "Training future physicians is locally one of the most meaningful ways we can strengthen our healthcare workforce," said Max Boto, president and CEO of Cox Health. "We look forward to welcoming those students to our campus, where they'll be part of advancing our mission to improve the health of the communities that we serve." Bringing a full 4-year medical school to the Springfield community ensures aspiring physicians can complete every stage of their training in the same place they may one day practice, said John Myers, president of Mercy Springfield Communities. By working with the University of Missouri School of Medicine, we're helping build a stronger pipeline of skilled, compassionate physicians. Curriculum between the two locations, Springfield and Columbia, will be comparable and will draw from shared faculty resources and an expanded simulation lab. The expanded medical school will offer allopathic degrees, otherwise known as MD degrees. It'll differ from the osteopathic DO degrees offered by Kansas City University's Joplin campus, which opened in 2017. The goal of the program, to retain more students from the Springfield area and give a significant boost to its economy. Steve Edwards, former CEO of Cox Health, said in September that establishing such a school in Springfield has been a long-sought goal. The university also announced it'll create a pathway for graduates of Springfield area colleges and universities to attend, but it did not provide further details. Currently, successful application into Mizzou's medical school requires meeting residency and academic benchmarks, including U.S. citizenship or permanent resident status, a score of at least 500 on the medical college admissions test, at least 90 semester hours of study at a U.S. college or university, with courses that fall under a variety of subjects, including English, math, biology, chemistry, and physics, an undergraduate GPA of 3.0 or higher, and letters of recommendation from former professors. Preference given to Missouri students, according to the university's admissions page. Out-of-state students must meet more stringent requirements.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, Hammond's Field signage taken down ahead of Thursday press conference. Could a stadium name change be in the works following the 2023 sale of the stadium from the John Q. Hammons Charitable Trust to the city of Springfield? And what follows is a picture of the Hammons Field scoreboard shown on April 21st, 2026, after the Hammons Field letters were removed from the scoreboard. A work crew took down the Hammons Field signage from the stadium's large scoreboard ahead of the Springfield Cardinals' Tuesday 6 p.m. home game against the Midland Rockhounds. The St. Louis Cardinals AA affiliate then posted a message to its social media accounts letting fans and media know that changes in the works, albeit unspecified. "Big changes coming to our ballpark," the Cardinals accounts posted Tuesday morning. All fans and media are invited to a press conference at the main entrance on Tuesday, April 23rd at 8:30 a.m. The Daily Citizen reached out to the Springfield Cardinals media relations teams for specifics, but a spokesperson declined to provide further details on the removal of the lettering or purpose of Thursday's news conference. And there's a picture of the letters from the Hammons Field signage are stacked outside the stadium on April 21st, 2026. The last time the organization sent a similar mass alert for a press conference was in February 2023, when it was announced that the city of Springfield had purchased Hammons Field and its adjacent parking lots for $16 million from the John Q. Hammons Charitable Trust. It's unclear if the stadium is changing its name with the apparent removal of its signage, but it has the right to do so per terms of its sale. Renaming the stadium has long been a topic of discussion among fans and community members. Commuters on the Commenters on the Springfield Cardinals social media posts on Tuesday suggest they're prepared for a new stadium name. And there's a picture. Hammons Field signage sticks out above the scoreboard in 2024, while Drury and Missouri State play the 8th annual Battle for the Bell baseball exhibition at Hammons Field. Surely one of these, Highland, Great Southern Bank, Bass Pro, O'Reilly, Ackard Simp speculated on the X platform. Spring Vegas style stadium, Kyle Dowden jokingly replied on Facebook. Other fans suggested that the Cardinals might be doing something as simple as changing the lights on the Hammons Field letters and keeping the name. On Monday, the Springfield Cardinals displayed their new Route 66 sculpture in front of the stadium as part of the Springfield 66 Centennial Sculpture Series. The sculptures have been placed in various spots in the city as a nod to the city known as birthplace of Route 66 on its 100th anniversary, which has a kickoff celebration April 30th to May 3rd.
Well, and Drury has extended Nyla Millicent's contract as athletics director. This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Drury University has agreed to terms with Vice President and Director of Athletics Nyla Millicent on a 4-year contract extension. DU President Jeff Frederick announced on Monday, April 20th. Millicent, who was named Drury's Director of Athletics in February 2022, will lead the Panthers and Lady Panthers through the 2029-30 academic year under the terms of her extension. Throughout Millicent's 4 years as Drury's lead administrator for athletics, DU has experienced unprecedented growth in both student athletic enrollment and revenue generation, while maintaining an elite standard of achievement in the competitive arena and in the classroom. And we see a picture of Nyla along with Drury Vice President and Drury Vice President and Director of Athletics, and also Drury President Jeff Frederick at a recent news conference. It would be hard to find many aspects of higher education in as much transition as athletics, Frederick said. Nyla's steady hand, deep understanding of Drury, Springfield, and the Ozarks, and strong relationships have been integral in our ongoing success. From national championships, national and conference contention, the wide-ranging successes in NCAA and non-NCAA sports, outstanding student-athlete performance in the classroom, and building future leaders. Nyla has captained a range of excellence all across our athletic footprint. We're blessed to have her at the helm. Drury's NCAA athletic programs continue to achieve as consistent championship contenders, not only in the Great Lakes Valley Conference, but among all NCAA Division II programs nationwide. During Millicent's tenure, the Panthers and Lady Panthers have captured 8 conference titles and represented Drury in NCAA postseason competition on 32 occasions. Additionally, the Drury men's and women's basketball programs have led the GLVC in cumulative home attendance in each of her 4 years at the helm of the department, with both teams ranking among the top 15 nationally each season. Academically, the Panthers set department records with 8 student athletes earning CSC Academic All-America recognition and 293 total Academic All-GLVC honorees last year. Furthermore, all 33 varsity sports programs posted at least a 3.0 team GPA for 2025, and Drury's NCAA student athletes recording an average individual GPA of 3.49 for the 2024-25 academic year. Millicent also piloted Drury athletics throughout a department-wide restructuring that included the addition of 2 senior-level administrator positions and several additional full-time athletics staff members last spring. Under her guidance, DU enjoyed another record-setting fundraising effort, with the 2025 Champions Challenge generating $463,647 in revenue for athletics. That figure shattered the department fundraising standard for a 4th consecutive year under Millicent's leadership. Quote, "What an incredible 4 years it's been," Millicent says. "I'm grateful for the leadership of Dr. Frederick and our Board of Trustees and for their belief in me. I'm excited for the opportunity to continue leading this department and working with such an outstanding group of student athletes, coaches, and administrators in adding to our championship tradition here at Drury."
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, a family sues dive bar and lounge over fatal parking lot crash. Multiple members of Jerry Wickwer's family filed the petition in Greene County Circuit Court on April 20th, alleging that the parking lot was not adequately lit and made for unsafe conditions for patrons. And what follows is the picture of the front of the dive bar and lounge photographed in 2024. The family of a man who died after being hit by a vehicle in the parking lot of the dive bar and lounge in 2023 has sued the bar and the property owner, alleging insufficient lighting outside of the business. In December 2023, police say 86-year-old Jerry Wickware was hit by a driver backing up in Dive Bar's parking lot, located at 2826 East Division Street. Police say Wickware from Springfield was run over and trapped by a 2013 Ford Escape driven by Scott Hall, 67. Firefighters freed Wickware and transported him to a Springfield hospital, but 2 days later he died from injuries sustained in the crash, according to a news release from the Springfield Police Department. Multiple members of Wickware's family filed the petition in the Greene County Circuit Court on April 20th, alleging negligence in the parking lot was not the parking lot was not adequately lit and made for unsafe conditions for patrons. Unsafe conditions in parking lot led to Wickware's death, lawsuit alleges. The defendants are the Dive Bar and Lounge and Simmons Bank and the trustee of the Trellis H. Howell Trust, according to court records. The suit alleges that the Trellis H. Howell Trust owned the property, including the parking lot, at the time of the incident that resulted in Wickware's death. The suit alleges that the business and the property owner were responsible for maintaining safe conditions in the parking lot. The parking lot was dark and not adequately illuminated, causing a not reasonable safe condition for patrons, such as Jerry Wickware. The lawsuit alleges that Jerry Wickware did exercise due care. Nonetheless, and unbeknownst to him, a not reasonably safe condition existed at the premises of defendants. The suit alleges that Wickware was not visible to drivers in the parking lot, that the driver who struck Wickware was not able to see Wickware in the dark parking lot, and that Wickware was struck a second time after the driver pulled forward because the parking lot was dark. The suit alleges that the business and the property owner should have provided adequate lighting in the parking lot during nighttime hours. The collision and Jerry Wickware's resulting injuries and death were directly caused by defendants' failure to provide adequate lighting in the parking lot, as evidenced by the police report's documentations of dark, unlighted conditions, the petition alleges. Requests a 12-person jury, reasonable damages. In the petition, the plaintiffs asked for court-determined damages that are fair and reasonable. The plaintiffs requested a 12-person jury trial in accordance with Missouri laws, according to the petition. The plaintiffs are represented by Jenna Homeyer, an attorney with Brad Bradshaw's law firm. The defendants did not have representation as of April 21st, according to court records. The dive bar is no longer in operation, and the property has been sold since the incident that resulted in Wickware's death. The property that housed the dive bar and lounge was sold in January 2026. The over 7,000 square foot property located at 2016 to 2826 East Division Street was owned by Rackra Brothers LLC, according to Greene County Assessor's Office records. It was appraised at just under $550,000. In late 2024, the Dive Bar and Lounge closed down as the owner, Kathy Marshall, said she decided to focus on another bar business she owned, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. Marshall also owns and operates KG Brewskis at 2216 North Packer Road. A phone call to KJ Brewskis requesting comment from Marshall on the lawsuit was not immediately returned. A media representative at Simmons Bank did not immediately return a phone call seeking comment on the lawsuit. Summons have been issued in the case, but as of April 21st, no hearing had been scheduled, according to court records.
From the Springfield News-Leader, No Kings protesters received citations weeks after the Springfield event. A couple of key points here in this article by Suzanne Souche. Springfield police issued 18 citations by mail to protesters for walking in the street during a March 28th No Kings demonstration. Police used drone video to identify individuals who received citations but did not use facial recognition or AI. The No Kings protest did not have a permit to be in the street, and one participant acknowledged the protesters who did so were practicing civil disobedience. Some people who attended the March 28th No Kings protest have posted on social media about receiving citations from the Springfield Police Department after the protests concluded. According to Chris Waters, public affairs officer for Springfield PD, 18 people received citations through the mail for walking along roadways. The situation also sparked concern about how people were identified, as well as questions about what protesters can do. Here's what to know. Quote, the first question, how did SPD identify who was in the street? As officers were unable to issue some citations on scene, Swatter said drone video was used to identify subjects and issue citations by mail. One of the protesters, Cindy Johnson Potts, told the News-Leader she was surprised that she received the citation in the mail, but knows that her online presence may have made it easier to identify her. She's more concerned about those who received the citations in the mail who don't have prominent social media presences. Johnson Potts also posted online about her concern that flock cameras were being used to identify people. However, flock is a license plate reader that is not used to capture faces, Swatter said. According to the flock website, the cameras also capture make, model, color, and any damage or alterations on vehicles. Swatters also said no artificial intelligence or facial recognition was used to identify people from the demonstration. Next question, can the police issue citations for people walking in the roadway during an organized demonstration? Well, it depends on whether or not the event has a permit. While a permit is generally not needed for free speech activities such as protesting, according to the ACLU, permits may be required when a march or parade does not stay on the sidewalk. Police can ask participants to move to the side of a street or sidewalk in order to let others pass or for safety reasons. When demonstrators were walking along Battlefield Road, Swatter said the police advised them to, quote, exit the roadway, which was their warning, prior to being issued a citation in the mail. Based on video posted of the event, protesters were occupying both lanes of eastbound Battlefield Road when they marched in the street. Johnson Potts said she did not remember hearing a warning, simply someone saying, quote, it isn't a good idea to walk in the street, before police, quote, proceeded to march along with us. The next headline, did the No Kings protest have a permit to be in the street? The No Kings protest on March 28th was not listed in the City of Springfield's calendar of permitted events. Springfield's municipal code defines a special event as a gathering or organized activity using city-owned property, public right-of-way, public streets, public buildings, or other city facilities involving 50 or more persons, and that involves activities such as closure of a public street or restriction or blockage of city-owned property. Applications for special event permits must be submitted 60 days prior to the event date. Johnson Potts knew that the event didn't have a permit to be in the street, but felt that after 2 No King protests, quote, it was time to step it up a notch. So Johnson Potts and the protest group she's part of, the Resisters, decided to practice civil disobedience. She's worried the demonstrators received tickets as a warning to others. Quote, it felt like it was very targeted against the Resisters, which is concerning. We're not throwing Molotov cocktails. We march peacefully in the streets wearing 70s beads and flowers in our hair and saying no war. Johnson Potts said that the concerning part is it feels like it's an attempt to squash any further dissidents like that. The next headline, what can I do as a protester? As a protester, your rights are strongest on traditional public forums, like streets, sidewalks, and parks, according to the ACLU. You may also be able to speak out on public property, like plazas in front of government buildings, as long as you're not blocking access to the building or interfering with other purposes the property was designed for. If you are on private property, the property owner may set rules limiting free speech. And the last headline, do I need a permit for a demonstration? Not generally, according to the ACLU, but there are events where a permit could be required, including a march or parade that doesn't stay on the sidewalk, a large rally using sound amplifying devices, or a rally at certain designated parks or plazas. If marchers stay on sidewalks and they obey traffic and pedestrian signals, their activity is constitutionally protected, even without a permit.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, the headline reads, from the ashes of ramen, a Springfield bagel shop arises. Months after Joe and Laura Still closed their ramen restaurant in Roundtree, the couple opened Big Baby Bagels in the same property. And there's a picture, and it says Joe Still, co-owner of Big Baby Bagels, serves customers on April 17, 2026. The bagel shop is having a soft opening for the remainder of the month. Joe and Laura Still are making bagels from ramen noodles. After a 10-year run in the historic Roundtree neighborhood, the Stills closed the beloved ramen shop Scully's in February. The business couple pivoted, and just 2 months later, on the middle of a soft opening of a bagel shop in the same building that housed their former ramen restaurant. In a way, Big Baby Bagels rose from the ashes of Scully's. The bagel shop, located at 1427 East Cherry Street, will be undergoing a soft opening for the remainder of April, with a grand opening tentatively planned early next month, Joe Still said. Big Baby Bagels, or BB Bagels, is using the soft opening to nail down the menu and smooth out operations. My wife is like a pastry chef by trade, Joe Still said outside the bagel shop on April 17th. We've been spending the last 6 months making bagels every day. We've been tweaking the recipe constantly. During the soft opening, BB Bagels is open from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday. The bagel shop features 8 signature bagels, and the Stills continue to finalize the menu. Some of the staples include dark chocolate chip, cinnamon crunch, poblano cheddar, everything, and more. After months of toying with different approaches, the Stills have landed on an old-fashioned way of making bagels. But nothing is set in stone, Joe Still said. BB Bagels uses barley, malt syrup, sugar, and salt as a solution. We are doing like a 36-hour ferment on them, and we're boiling them, kind of like an old-fashioned style, Still said. The next headline says, everything made fresh and in-house. All bagel toppings are freshly made in the house, including salmon, fresh avocado, tomatoes, cucumbers, and more. BB Bagels has 7 cream cheese spreads made in-house from scratch. We're whipping all of our own cream cheese, Still said. We're not buying, like, pre-whipped or anything. After the soft opening, Big Baby Bagel plans to add breakfast sandwiches to its offerings. Joe Still said to accept staples like eggs and bacon and sausage offerings. The Stills have undisclosed partners in BB Bagels, Still said. But the business couple continued the lease with the property owner after Scully's closed down, Still said. The lease has approximately 3 years left. The property located at 1423 to 1427 East Cherry Street is owned by Pickwick and Cherry LLC, according to Greene County Assessor's Office records. The property had just under 9,500 square feet and was appraised at $735,000. Pickwick and Cherry LLC is registered to Kim Chaffin of Springfield, according to Missouri Secretary of State records. And the headline reads, From Ramens to Bagels. And there's a picture that shows co-owner Joe Still stands in front of Big Baby Bagels, or BB Bagels, on April 27, 2026. The bagel shop is in the same building that housed Scully's ramen restaurant. The Stills made the unconventional jump from a ramen restaurant to a bagel shop because the business owners need a little more time away from the restaurant grind. The two just welcomed their first child, Lucy, in December 2025. Even though Joe and Laura Still loved Scully's offerings and thoroughly enjoyed bringing non-traditional ramen to Springfield, the menu required extensive prep time. For instance, the ramen broth that the restaurant made required 28 hours to get to a finished product. Scully's has a ton of work doing ramen, Joe Still said, and the amount of labor that goes into that. And so we never really made money at Scully's. We made enough to sustain ourselves, but even then it was tight a lot of times. That made prep time for every dish meant the Stills were working both ends of the clock and rarely getting time at home. When Lucy came into the world, the business owners knew they had to pivot. Lucy was part of the impetus for we got to do something a little different and get home at a reasonable time, Joe Still said. As Lucy was the impetus for the bagel shop, it just makes sense that the business was named after her. While Laura was pregnant, checkups often came with a special warning from the doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers. Joe Still said, they always said, that's a big baby. The Stills thought it was funny and endearing and decided the new business would be Big Baby Bagels. And for those wondering, Lucy was born at just under 9 pounds, slightly bigger than the average newborn. Opening a bagel shop has meant Joe Still has turned the late nights at Scully's into the early morning at BB Bagels. The chef usually gets to the shop at 4:30 a.m. to start the process of whipping out fresh bagels to Springfield. But, I'm off at 1, so it's definitely more enjoyable, Joe Still said.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, a panel favors removing non-residents from Springfield Sales Tax Board. A couple of key points: the Citizens Advisory Board that recommends uses for a Springfield sales tax was found to be in violation of the city charter. City Council is working to reestablish the board to comply with local laws, including member residency requirements. And a committee decided to remove a proposal that would have allowed non-city residents to serve in a non-voting capacity. After a Citizens Board tasked with recommending how a Springfield sales tax should be used was found to be in violation of the city charter, Springfield City Council moved to right the wrong and reestablish the board to follow local laws. On Tuesday, April 24th, the Plans and Policies Committee took a first look at a proposed ordinance that would do that and decided to scrap the inclusion of members that live outside of city limits, even in a non-voting capacity. Last month, City Attorney Jordan Paul acknowledged he overlooked the violations of the charter when Council set up the Citizens Advisory Board, known as CAB, in early 2025. The violations identified in a letter from a local resident included allowing non-city residents to serve on the board, allowing the board to operate with fewer members than the charter requires, and changing how officers are selected. And what follows is a picture from last September of the Bush Municipal Building. The CAB was set up as an oversight board to review and determine uses for the half-cent portion of the three-quarter-cent Spring Forward Springfield sales tax approved by voters November 5th of 2024. At inception, the board consisted of 7 instead of the required 9 members and allowed non-residents to serve as full members. While the work of the CAB has been paused until Council passes a new resolution correcting these mistakes, the board currently includes 3 non-city residents. After a referral from Mayor Jeff Schrag, the committee took a first look at a proposed resolution brought forth by Paul and proposed by Schrag at its Tuesday meeting. The proposal included keeping 3 non-resident member seats in an advisory capacity, meaning that they would not be able to cast a vote, count toward a quorum, or be eligible to hold officer positions. Schrag had expanded the number of non-resident members to 3 from the originally proposed 2 after finding out a current member had moved outside of city limits. In his referral, he also noted that this would keep term limits staggered alike to the full members of the board. This would have expanded the CAB to include 12 total members. The group that recommended the creation of a body like the CAB had indicated the group should be relatively small, with fewer than 10 members per previous News-Leader reporting. During previous discussions of the CAB realignment, Council seemed mostly inclined to keep non-resident members on in a non-voting capacity. Several Council members noted they still had valuable insight into the amenities the city offers, and there was a desire to preserve continuity of service. This feeling still persisted at the start of the committee meeting on Tuesday. Councilwoman Heather Hardinger noting that those who live just outside of city limits yet spend their money in Springfield are shut out from having a voice in how the city that impacts them functions. They probably get sewer and other city utilities and access that most other people do. They just don't get to vote, and they don't get to participate in civic life the way we want people to, she said. But Councilman Craig Osmer said local tax dollars use should be decided by local residents. He also expressed the feeling that the inclusion of non-residents into the new ordinance for the CAB was simply a way to keep current members on the board. Hardinger and Councilman Abe McGoll, who chair the committee, pushed back on this sentiment. Quote, I think if we're going to have a tax that's generated in the City of Springfield for City of Springfield projects, we should have City of Springfield people, he said. The resolution presented to committee Tuesday still carried over the requirement for a non-resident member to have worked in Springfield within the past year before appointment, though this could be removed or changed by council. Paul pointed out that no other city board besides the Mayor's Commission for Children includes non-resident advisory members. Boards for other entities such as city utilities, the airport, and the Springfield Greene County Park Board include county resident members as full voting members, but those are also direct constituents of those districts. This swayed Hardinger to agree with keeping the CAB to solely include city residents as the charter outlines. Councilwoman Callie Carroll, who also serves on the committee, was absent from Tuesday's meeting. The proposed resolution will now be adjusted to scrap the inclusion of non-voting non-residents before being presented to the committee again at its next meeting. According to the committee calendar, the next Plans and Policies Committee meeting is scheduled for 1 o'clock Tuesday, May 19th, and before going into effect, the resolution still has a long road ahead that could entail more adjustments. To move forward, it will have to be voted out of committee and go before the full council for a public hearing and a final vote. And while typically the Public Involvement Committee selects candidates for board appointments, the proposed resolution for the CAB would place this responsibility initially on the Committee of the Whole. This was decided upon earlier conversations since the original CAB members were selected by all members of council. With non-resident members removed and the board expanded to include the required 9 members, council will have to appoint at least 4 new members. CAB member Lauren Shance's term will expire May 1st, which could create an additional vacancy, though she is eligible to be reappointed.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, the headline reads, groundbreaking ceremony set for Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Springfield Temple. It will be the church's third temple in Missouri. The other two are in Kansas City and St. Louis. And there's a picture that shows that this is what the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Temple in Springfield will look like. The groundbreaking ceremony for the Missouri Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will be Saturday, June 6th. More information will be disclosed later, said church local spokeswoman Sarah Soquedo Carey. There isn't a time set for the ceremony at this point, she said via email. The groundbreaking is by invitation only. Others may join by a Zoom link that will be provided closer to the event. Media will be invited. More details to follow in the next few weeks. The Springfield, Missouri Temple will be the third dedicated temple in the state, joining the Kansas City, Missouri, and the St. Louis, Missouri temples. The Springfield Daily Citizen most recently wrote about the Springfield Temple on June 5th. The story reported that the progress on the Springfield Temple had been slow due to environmental concerns over bats. And the headline reads, the site is not far from Mercy Orthopedic Hospital. This is an aerial view of the temple site looking south, the picture shows. The construction site is on 38 acres at the southern tip of Springfield. The Springfield Temple's address is 2720 East Farm Road 188, which is just west of Highway 65 near Mercy Orthopedic Hospital. It will be across the street from the Lexington Square residential subdivision and the River Bluff Fellowship Church. The exact location in Springfield was disclosed in June of 2024. The closest temple to Springfield is in Bentonville, Arkansas, 124 miles away. It was built in 2023. It should be noted, a temple is not a church in the faith. A church, also called a meeting house, is where weekly Sunday worship is held. Churches fall into units called wards or smaller branches. Next headline reads, temples are where rites and rituals are done. Temples are more elaborate structures where assorted church rites and rituals are done. Temples are open to members seeking quiet and meditation. Only church members in good standing can enter a temple. Elder Alvarado B. Cavalcante of the United States Southeast Area Presidency will preside at the groundbreaking event. The church, which headquarters in Salt Lake City, announced it would build a temple in Springfield at its April 2023 General Conference. Springfield was one of 15 worldwide locations announced.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, this just in, Greene County Planning Board recommends against rezoning land near Willard for a major subdivision. After hearing testimony from 20 people in opposition to the proposal, the Greene County Planning Board unanimously recommended denial for a request to rezone about 93 acres for a major subdivision proposed near Willard. And what follows is a picture of the meeting and the developer Derek Lee speaking and highlighting areas of the site map at this meeting of the P&Z. At a packed meeting on April 21st at the historic courthouse, the Greene County Planning Board unanimously recommended denial of an application to rezone over 93 acres in unincorporated Greene County for a new subdivision. The property located near State Highways AB and EE in the Willard area. Springfield City Councilman Derek Lee, through his company, Willard 80 LLC, applied to rezone the property from an R1 suburban residence district to a UR1 urban residence district. His intention? To create a major subdivision dubbed Auburn Meadows. Over 600 lots could be developed on the property if it is rezoned, but Willard would first need to expand sewer capacity to connect the entire lot to the city's sewer services, according to analysis from county staff. The project has received pushback from neighbors and residents of the rural area north of the Springfield-Branson National Airport. An online petition titled, quote, Stop Urban Housing from Coming to Willard District had received 700 signatures as of April 21st. And what follows is a sketch plat of the subdivision proposed for the property. Numerous neighbors have spoken opposition to the project at that April 21st Planning Board meeting. They voiced concerns about stormwater runoff, traffic and safety, and impacts on surrounding property values. Planning Board member Dave Coonrod said rezoning the property would be, quote, premature because it currently lacks sewer capacity to support the development as proposed. I don't feel like we're in a position to let this subdivision go forward until we see some infrastructure that's in place. I don't really believe that the community ought to be burdened with the specter of small lots going in and not knowing really whether or not they're going to be served or what kind of protections they're going to get in once it's in. Coonrod said. The Greene County Commission will ultimately decide whether to approve or deny the application for rezoning. The next headline reads, City of Willard, quote, does not have any concerns with the rezoning. And again, it follows a picture of the property proposed for the development, an overhead view. Lee stated the City of Willard needs to upgrade a sewer lift station to accommodate the hundreds of lots proposed for Auburn Meadows. Quote, they have capacity right now for 100 more homes, Lee said. Now, if the sewer service is upgraded, over 600 new lots could be developed with a minimum size of 6,000 square feet per lot. As proposed, this development would have a higher density than the Meadows subdivision, which borders the property on the north. The Meadows is zoned as an R1 residential land use, which requires a minimum of 10,000 square feet per lot for access to public water and sewer. Quote, it's my intent, if the sewer doesn't get there, to divide this into 3-acre lots and not just let it sit there forever, Lee said. These tracts would be served by on-site wastewater systems, according to an analysis from county staff. Willard Director of Planning and Development Mike Roosh issued a statement to Greene County Planning Board March 17th, and he stated in an email, quote, the city has been in contact with Mr. Lee during this process of development of Auburn Meadows Phases 1 and 2. The city does not have any concerns with the rezoning of the property from R1 to UR1. We understand the zone change could increase the density at this location. We're working with the developer in regards to services for Phases 1 and 2. We're also working on annexation of the property with the developer when possible. Next headline, neighbors worry about traffic, schools, and impact on water. And we see another picture of the meeting that was held on April 21st. In total, 20 people spoke there in opposition to rezoning the property for the proposed subdivision, sharing a wide variety of concerns. Skylar Walrath, treasurer of the Meadows Homeowners Association, said the density of the development is probably the HOA's number one worry. We get a lot of traffic right there from having 2 schools on EE, a lot of traffic flowing into Springfield already. She states that her neighborhood may not be opposed to a smaller substitute for the proposed development, or, quote, something that's a little more aesthetically aligned with what we've got going on. Stephanie Walters, a teacher at Willard Central Elementary, expressed concern about how the development could impact her school. We're at 415 students already, she said. If you're thinking about 600 homes, even if they each just send one kid, or even half of them, if it's 300, that's still almost doubling. Several people have stated that the area around State Highways AB and EE are already prone to flooding and question how a major subdivision would impact water runoff. Russ Campbell, owner of Fantastic Caverns and the former Clear Creek Park property, stated that the Missouri Department of Natural Resources has mapped 2 and possibly 3 sinkholes on the site of the proposed development. Quote, I would suggest if the sinkholes are there to do a dye trace to see where that water actually goes, Campbell said. Quote, sinkholes are open. They're porous. They move water rapidly from the surface to the subsurface, to cracks, fissures, voids, caves, springs, ultimately to the water table, the drinking water supply.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, the headline reads, Understanding City Utilities Rates, What's Changing and Why? And next shows a picture of City Utilities. John Twitty Energy Center has provided a source of local electricity since 1976. Energy costs around the United States are going up as the need for electricity continues to grow. Fortunately, City Utilities, CU, customers pay some of the lowest rates for electricity and natural gas within the region, state, and nation. Still, even modest increases constrain household budgets. We recognize utility prices are going up along with so many other services that we pay for every day, said Dwayne Folks, CU's president CEO. We want to give our customers the most value possible and a better understanding of how our rates are structured, why they change, and what customers can expect heading into the summer months. How CU rates work. City Utilities rates are made up of 2 main parts, base rate and fuel or purchase power costs. The base rate helps pay for and strengthen the systems that deliver electricity, natural gas, and water to home and businesses every day. This includes things like utility bills, power lines, pipes, substations, and other critical infrastructure. It also covers the crews, equipment, and maintenance needed to keep services safe and reliable for our community. For electric and natural gas services, there's another factor to consider, fuel. City utilities must purchase fuel to generate electricity and provide natural gas to heat homes and businesses. Those costs fluctuate based on market conditions. Additionally, CU purchases power from the wholesale market to both reduce costs when possible and to meet electric demand. These costs are also incorporated into the fuel component of your utility bill. CU does not profit from fuel costs or purchase power. What we pay is what customers pay, said Folk. To help protect customers from large swings in prices, CU uses purchasing strategies such as a fixed price contracts to purchase fuel and natural gas in volume. For natural gas, the utility buys and stores it when prices are typically lower during the summer months. Every 6 months, the utility reviews its fuel and purchase power costs through the electric fuel adjustment factor and the natural gas recovery adjustment factor. This process compares projected cases with the actual cost during the previous 6 months. If actual costs were lower than expected, customers may see a credit on their bill. If costs were higher than expected, there may be a small charge to recover those expenses. One bill, 4 services. Another important factor when comparing rates is that city utilities bills customers for up to 4 services: electricity, natural gas, water, and sanitary sewer. Seeing all services together on one bill can make total seem higher, but it reflects multiple essential services combined in one place. While city utilities provide electric, natural gas, and water services, sewer rates are set by the city of Springfield. Having these services on one combined bill helps reduce extra service fees and gives customers convenience of paying for everything in one place, said Folk. And what follows is a chart that says city utilities customers continue to pay rates that are lower than those in comparable benchmark cities. How city utility rates compare. Even as costs rise nationwide, CIU customers continue to benefit from low utility rates. In the fiscal year 2025, customers paid electric rates 27% below the national average and 9% below the Missouri average. Natural gas rates remained 38% below the national average and 44% below the state average. And what shows is another chart that shows the cost of essential materials and equipment like utility poles, transformers, and pipes continue to skyrocket. Why rates are increasing. Like many industries, utilities are being hit hard by inflation. Equipment, labor, and material costs have surged in recent years. Key components like transformers have increased by 50% in price since 2019. These higher costs make it more expensive to maintain, strengthen, and upgrade the electric system, contributing to overall increases in utility expenses. Another major factor is changing regulatory requirements in the energy industry. Southwest Power Pool, SPP, the regional transmission organization that oversees the electric grid in this part of the country, has increased the amount of electricity utilities must have available in reserve to maintain system reliability. This means utilities must now be able to buy or generate significantly more electricity than in the past, and there is a nationwide push to build and add more electric capacity to meet these and similar requirements, which is driving costs up. In the end, customers benefit from a more reliable electric system built to withstand extreme weather and growing demand. And what follows is another picture expected to come online in 2027. 3 natural gas turbines are under construction in Northeast Springfield to meet significant regulatory requirements. To meet these requirements, CU is investing in new generation resources. 3 natural gas combustion turbines under construction in Northeast Springfield will add roughly 150 megawatts of capacity, helping improve reliability and reduce the need to rely on electricity from outside the area. 2 zinc battery storage systems will provide an additional 36 megawatts of energy storage and dispatch capability. The batteries are designed to last longer than traditional lithium-ion technology and are considered among the safest forms of grid-scale energy storage available today. The summer bill outlook. Looking into the summer, CU customers should prepare for higher summer bills compared to last year. In the fall of 2023, Springfield City Council approved a 3.9% electric rate increase that went into effect on April 1st to help cover the increasing costs. The estimated typical monthly residential increase for customers using 900 kilowatt hours per month is $4.79. Additionally, fuel costs were higher than expected over the winter, largely due to the high fuel and purchase energy costs we experienced during Winter Storm Fern in January. The updated electric fuel adjustment factor will increase an average residential bill by about $945 per month temporarily for the next 6 months. In all, customers should expect to see an increase of $14 per month on their bills, with average usage of 900 kilowatt hours per month as compared to last summer. Utility costs are rising across the country and we're not immune to those pressures, said Folk, but we're focused on making smart investments now to avoid larger costs and reliability issues down the road.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, plan to replace Missouri income tax with expanded sales tax heads to voters. Backers will campaign on promises the change will result in a rush of new jobs and people to Missouri. Opponents argue it will increase costs of everyday purchases and benefit the wealthiest people in the state. And we see a picture of Governor Mike Kehoe speaking to a crowd of Springfield business leaders, government officials, and community members during his State of the State speech. Missouri voters will be deciding later this year whether to grant lawmakers power to increase and expand the sales tax in order to raise revenue needed to eliminate the income tax. The Missouri House voted 95-59 Tuesday to send a proposed constitutional amendment directing future legislatures to cut personal income tax rates as state revenue increases. The measure also allows the General Assembly to expand the sales tax to transactions involving any goods and services without having to return to ask voter permission. 9 Republicans joined the 50 Democrats present for the debate in opposition to the plan that is Governor Mike Kehoe's top legislative priority. Kehoe must decide by May 22nd whether it'll be on the August 4th primary ballot or wait for the November 3rd general election. Quote, "This is the first step in keeping our promise to make Missouri more competitive, attract jobs and investment, and let families keep more of what they earn from the start," Kehoe said in a statement released Tuesday. "We look forward to continuing this important conversation with Missourians in every corner of our state." In a debate that has become familiar to close observers at this year's session, Republican supporters characterized the income tax as theft and argued that repeal would open the state to new businesses and residents eager to flee high-tax areas. "The income tax has killed the source of wealth for Missouri's middle class," said GOP Representative Bishop Davidson of Republic, sponsor of the proposal. "It's made the American dream an American memory, and even that is fading out of view. It's decayed our economy, stagnated our wages, chased young people out of the state, and left our seniors without their families." Democrats, however, warned that if it passes at the ballot box, higher sales taxes will shift the tax burden to poorer Missourians who must spend most or all of their income on necessities. Quote, "Let's be real. There's no opting out on buying everyday goods and services," said Democratic State Representative Stephanie Hine of Springfield. "You have to feed your family. You have to have a place to live. You have to be able to buy your medicine. Those are non-negotiables." If passed, the proposal would direct lawmakers to set a revenue baseline and triggers for phased-in reductions in the top tax rate. It also allows 5 years for the legislature to write a new sales tax law, which must be directly tied to cuts in the top income tax rate in a manner supporters hope will not increase or decrease revenue. Currently, Missouri has an income tax with a top rate of 4.7% for taxable incomes greater than about $9,200 a year. The sales tax is 3% for general revenue, but earmarked state taxes and local options stack on top of that, creating a rate that is 7 to 8% in most locations and can be as much as 12% in some special districts. The sales tax applies to physical goods and excludes services. The Missouri Constitution prohibits lawmakers from applying the sales tax to real estate transfers and any goods or services not currently taxed, but those provisions would not apply to any sales tax plan passed as a result of the constitutional amendment. Missouri gets about 65% of its state's revenue from income tax, about 22% from sales tax, and the rest from other sources, including a corporate income tax. To replace the revenue from the income tax without expanding coverage of the sales tax would increase the tax rate by as much as 8.5%. State law exempts residential utility costs, prescription drugs, and groceries from all or a portion of the current sales tax. There are also a dozen of other sales tax exemptions, mainly tied to business operations as an economic development tool. And while the legislature has been debating the proposed constitutional amendment, lawmakers have also been debating new sales tax exemptions. Bills that would exempt infant care products, credit card processing fees, goods sold at auction, aviation fuel sold at Lambert International Airport, and construction materials used in public buildings are under consideration. The proposal approved Tuesday was a vastly different one from the plan originally voted on in March in the House. The original version included specific revenue triggers for tax rate cuts, specified a baseline year for measuring future revenue growth, and completely repealed the income tax when the rate fell below 1.4%. The revisions made by the state Senate took out all the specifics. During House debate, Davidson said what is left is a framework to guide future lawmakers with protections against increasing the tax burden or imposing sales taxes that are not accompanied by income tax cuts. Quote, it doesn't allow for an increase in taxes whatsoever and actually mandates revenue neutrality, Davidson said. The removal of specifics pushed State Representative Bryant Wolfen, a Republican from St. Genevieve, into opposition, he said during Tuesday's debate. The proposal asked voters to trust lawmakers, he said, and he doesn't believe Republicans have a strong track record of restraining government that would purchase the trust. Quote, if we pass legislation that's based off our fundings and we're wrong and we increase the tax burden on Missourians, which has happened in this building with Wayfair, there is no legal recourse or refunds that would go back to Missourians, Wolfen said. Missourians also will feel the bite when new sales tax take effect, said House Minority Leader Ashley Una, the Kansas City Democrat. The bill's sponsor and the bootlickers in the Missouri GOP, who are falling in line around this tax scheme, keep telling you that they simply want to eliminate your income tax, she said. The legislature can and has cut top tax rates in bills tied to a revenue trigger and could do that without a statewide vote, Ann said. The sales tax increase, however, cannot be enacted without permission from voters. The campaign over the measure opened just minutes after the final vote. Polling has shown the plan is unpopular. The Republican consulting firm Torchlight Strategies found that Missourians oppose the switch from income to sales tax 49 to 37%. After hearing a series of reasons to oppose it, only 18% remained favorable to the plan, while 75% said they'd vote no. Liberal groups immediately began attacks on the proposal. Quote, while the richest Missourians will pad their investment accounts, the vast majority of us will be subject to whopping increased risks and costs for everything from home repairs to car insurance to burial services, said Amy Blount of the Missouri Budget Project. And Claire Cook-Callan, Executive Director of Progress Missouri, said middle-class families will see the biggest hit. Missourians expect strong public schools, reliable roads and bridges, and fully funded, accessible services, and for everyone to pay their fair share. Cook-Callan said in a news release, quote, instead, this plan gives a tax break to the state's 8 billionaires and sticks each working family with a bill of about $500 more each year. The Torchlight poll found that more than 60% of voters said they would not vote to re-elect a lawmaker who supported the plan. Ann said in her final words to Republicans, said the tax plan will be a major campaign issue in House races. Quote, voters are paying attention, and you have my word that I will be spending the next 6.5 months making sure your constituents know just how enthusiastically you've supported making their lives more expensive.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, the headline reads, Pizza House owner opens 330 frozen treats stores on historic Commercial Street. 330 Frozen Treats will host a soft opening on April 28th, just ahead of the Route 66 Centennial kickoff. There's a picture shows Stacy Schneider, longtime owner of Pizza House, stands in front of her new business, 330 Frozen Treats. The grab-and-go shop will open April 28th, 2026. The longtime owner of Pizza House will soon open a grab-and-go frozen treats store just doors down from the iconic restaurant in historic Commercial Street. 330 Frozen Treats will host a soft opening on April 28th, just ahead of the Route 66 Centennial kickoff, said owner Stacy Schneider. A ribbon cutting hosted by the C Street Merchants Association will occur later on. The new store is located at 330 East Commercial Street, about a block from Pizza House. The Frozen Delectables store has been a dream of Schneider's even before she bought one of the oldest pizza joints in Springfield about 18 years ago. In fact, Schneider said she's wanted a frozen treat business since she was a schoolgirl. My generation, we used to have the kitty cart, and they'd go ding, 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 and it'd be in the back of a Jeep, just like just this deep freeze, Schneider said at the new storefront on April 19th. I always thought that'd be the coolest job, and it seemed really easy. Who doesn't want to open up a popsicle stand? The headline says, Grab and Go Store, Expanding Selection. 330 Frozen Treats will offer a wide selection of grab-and-go frozen snacks like ice cream bars, popsicles, and more, Schneider said. Think of the neighborhood ice cream truck, but in a storefront on historic Commercial Street. The store will sell more than just frozen treats. There will be snacks like bagged chips and candy, as well as soda and other drinks. And soon, 330 Frozen Treats will offer a variety of slushies. Of course, it's all wrapped into a fun atmosphere, Schneider said. And it shows another picture. 330 Frozen Treats, located at 330 East Commercial Street, will host a soft opening on April 28, 2026. As a grab-and-go store, Schneider said she could get it up and running quickly. Though Schneider said she would love to make frozen treats like ice cream, the pre-manufactured, pre-packaged business model allows the company to operate with less overhead and less labor. Schneider expects to run the store with 3 employees. It's more like a convenience store I can buy the products to sell, Schneider said. You know, there's not really a convenience store right here. And the headline says, Schneider has owned the Pizza House for nearly 2 decades. The Pizza House opened in 1958 at the corner of Glenstone Avenue and Bennett Street, according to the company website. Schneider began working at the pizza joint when she was 15 under then-owners Dorothy D. Smith and Pat Clay. 5 decades after opening, a change in landlords almost resulted in the closure of the iconic Springfield business. Schneider stepped in and bought the business and founded a new home on historic Commercial Street. The business became an anchor of the street, and in 2013, Schneider invested in an expansion, purchasing the C Street property and the adjoining building. Schneider said she wanted to open a frozen treats business to complement Pizza House for at least a decade, but the timing was never quite right. As she comes close to hitting 20 years as the sole owner of Pizza House, she felt confident in making the move to open the second business. I've been saying for years that when I turn 55, that'll be real close to my 20th year of being on my own over here, Schneider said. So yeah, I've wanted it for a long time. Next headline says, 330 Frozen Treats will complement Pizza House. 330 Frozen Treats signed a 1-year lease on the commercial property, Schneider said. She owns the Pizza House buildings, which were purchased in 2013, according to county records. The commercial property that houses a frozen treat shop was not for sale, and besides, Schneider said she has no desire to own more property. I don't need or want any more property, Schneider said with a laugh. At my age, I'm pretty happy with all the property and maintenance that I need to do currently. And there's a picture. It shows, for a sneak peek at C Street's newest business, 330 Frozen Treats, a freezer with grab-and-go options was available to friends and family. The just under 2,300 square foot property at 330 East Commercial Street was owned by Winged Foot Investments, LLC, according to Greene County Assessor's Office records. The property was last sold in November 2025 and was appraised at $128,800. Winged Foot Investments is registered to Teresa Emerson of Springfield, according to Missouri Secretary of State records. The new business will not only complement Pizza House, but it will also be a fresh addition to the growing C Street, offering a grab-and-go option for those enjoying the historic corridor, Schneider said. Pizza House customers are going to love the option of grabbing a quick frozen dessert after chowing down, the business owner said. You can't be sad around pizza, and you can't be sad around ice cream, Schneider said. It's a really nice mixture.
It is. Missouri State is set to honor alumni at their Bears of Distinction event. Missouri State University set to honor alumni and friends at their annual Bears of Distinction event. It's set for April 25th. According to a community announcement, the event hosted by the Missouri State Alumni Association will celebrate the professional achievements, civic contributions, and volunteer impact of graduates and supporters from across the country. The first headline, event details and ticket information. The Bearers of Distinction Dinner and Awards Banquet is scheduled for 6 p.m. at the Christopher S. Bond Learning Center at the William H. Darr Agricultural Center, 2401 South Kansas Expressway here in Springfield. The event is open to the public. Tickets $40 per person or $3.20 for a table of 8. Attendees can RSV online or by calling 417-836-5654. Well, of course, we all want to know, who are the 2026 Bearers of Distinction honorees? The award recipients include leaders in education, hospitality, athletics, business, and public service, according to the announcement. Excellence in Public Affairs, Ken McClure, class of 72. We see a picture of him. He is a former Springfield mayor. He retired in 2025 after serving 8 years as mayor of Springfield, and his tenure included navigating the COVID-19 pandemic and securing the purchase of Hammons Field to keep the Springfield Cardinals in town. McClure also served as chief of staff for former Missouri Governor Matt Blunt and as Missouri State's vice president for administrative and information services from 2008 to 2015. The award of appreciation, Mr. Art Haynes. And we see a picture of Art during a Missouri Valley Conference tournament game. Art Haynes has spent 45 years as Missouri State's play-by-play voice, calling more than 3,000 athletic events. He's also served as studio host for the Kansas City Chiefs radio network for 16 years. In 2022, he battled West Nile virus and spent 8 months in rehab before returning to the booth for the 2023 football season. He retired in 2025. Volunteer Group of the Year, College of Business Executive Advisory Council. The council has shaped Missouri State's College of Business since its formal establishment in 2005. The 28-member council helps align curriculum with workforce needs, creates internship and job opportunities for students, and fund namespaces throughout Glass Hall. Bearer of Excellence honorees include Dr. Adrienne Battle, class of 03, who has led Metro Nashville Public Schools since 2019, becoming the first Black woman, and first district graduate to serve as superintendent. Barbara Ducey Bowden, class of 83. She's area managing director of Lowe's Hotels at Universal Orlando, overseeing 5 signature collection properties. Julie Cromer, class of 93. She serves as the executive director, athletic director, and chief operations officer at Louisiana State University. And Gina Keltner, class of 89. She spent more than 25 years at the Grand Ole Opry, where she books roughly 2,000 artist slots per year as associate producer of talent. In 2025, she was inducted into the Source Hall of Fame, recognizing accomplished women in Nashville's music industry. Dr. Maureen McCarthy, class of 81. She's in her 9th year as dean of the College of Sciences and Humanities at Ball State University, leading 300 faculty and 4,000 students. And Bjorn Tordovic, who is Chief Financial Officer of Build-A-Bear Workshop in St. Louis, where he oversees he's overseen 5 consecutive years of record revenue and profitability. Congratulations to all. And how to nominate someone for the 2027 Bearers of Distinction. The Missouri State Alumni Association is already accepting nominations for next year's awards, and they can be submitted online.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, the headline reads, Plastic-Free Springfield Earth Day Festival features shovels and rope. The Springfield Earth Day Festival returns for its 5th year, April 25th at Jordan Valley Park. It's raised more than $90,000 for environmental causes. And a picture shows Americana duo Shovels and Rope is the headlining act at the 5th Springfield Earth Day Festival, April 25th at Jordan Valley Park. This plastic-free event raises money for environmental causes. You could see nationally touring artists and regional stars at Springfield's Earth Day Festival, April 25th at Jordan Valley Park. There will also be aerial performances and special activities for children. There won't be a single plastic bottle in sight, however. The Earth Day Festival is a one-day ticketed plastic-free music and sustainability festival that raises funds to help support Ozarks environmental organizations. This is the 5th year for the festival, co-produced by Springfield musician Molly Healy, and it has already raised more than $90,000 for environmental causes. The doors open at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and the festival runs from noon to 8 p.m. Tickets are $25, cheaper than in previous years, and available in advance online. Free parking with shuttle service to and from the festival is available at Ozarks Technical Community College. Here's what else you need to know about this year's event. And the headline says, award-winning Americana duo Shovels and Rope is the headliner. And it shows another picture of the Americanas duo Shovels and Rope is made up of husband and wife duo of Michael Trent and Carrie Ann Hurst. They've been performing together since 2008. The Earth Day Festival team continues to book impressive headlining acts, including Longhorn Slim in 2024 and Sierra Hull in 2025. This year's headliner is Charleston, South Carolina-based Shovels and Rope, made up of the husband and wife duo of Michael Trent and Carrie Ann Hurst. They blend traditional folk rock and country rock. Trent and Hurst recorded an album titled Shovels and Rope in 2008, but it wasn't intended to create a performance act. The pair married in 2009 and continued to perform solo. Their first album under the Shovels and Rope moniker, Oh Be Joyful, was released in 2012 and reached number 123 on the Billboard 200. That album earned Shovels and Rope a trio of nominations at the Americana Music Association Honors and Awards. Trent and Hurst won for Emerging Artist of the Year and Song of the Year for Birmingham. They've twice been nominated for Duo Group of the Year by the Americana Music Association in 2013 and 2015. Shovels and Rope has released more than 8 albums, including 2024, Something's Working Above My Head. And the headline says, live music on 2 stages plus aerial performances. And it shows a picture of Danny Tay, the owner of the Springfield Aerial Fitness, Swords and Silks at the Earth Day Festival. Healy will take the stage herself, along with her with Molly Healy's String Project and several other area favorites are in the Earth Day Festival lineup. Here's the full list. On the headline main production stage, it says noon, the Burney Sisters, 1:30 p.m. Little Jones, 3 p.m. Molly Healy's String Project, 4:30 p.m. Johnny Mullinex, 6:15 p.m. Keynote Speaker, and 6:30 p.m. Shovels and Rope. And on the Downsing Soundman acoustic stage, at 1 p.m. is Isaac Kenneth, 2:30 p.m. is Riley Baker, 4 p.m. Ashton Barbary, and 5:30 p.m. One More Dollar. Springfield Area Fitness will also be performing throughout the day. That group has been part of the Earth Day Festival since its inception at Mother's Brewing Company back in 2022. And as the headline says, offstage offerings include activities for children. And it shows another picture of Sierra Hull and the band closed the show from the main stage of the 2025 Earth Day Music Festival in Jordan Valley Park. The Earth Day Festival will once again include eco-friendly vendors along with community partners dedicated to protecting the planet. Since the event is plastic-free, all beverages are sold and served in commemorative reusable take-home cups. Free water will be available on site, and organizers will also compost all food waste. Children ages 12 and under get in free to the Earth Day Festival, and Healy said entertainment is planned for young festival goers. We're really excited about the kids' tent this year, she said. Wonders of Wildlife will be there. There's an art corner and a scavenger hunt and a musical petting zoo. The headline says, this year's festival benefits the Ozark Land Trust. And there is a picture of the Earth Day Music Festival organizer, Molly Healy, thanking volunteers, attendees, sponsors, and musicians before the closing act in 2025. All proceeds from the Earth Day Festival will go to Ozark Land Trust, which has dozens of projects protecting more than 30,000 acres of land throughout the region. Land trusts are private, nonprofit, voluntary organizations dedicated to helping landowners protect their land in perpetuity. This is accomplished through methods including conservation easements, nature preserves, and partnerships with conservation organizations. Ozark Land Trust was founded in 1984 and is operated by a volunteer board of directors. It has helped protect natural and geological features including waterfalls, caves, springs, prairies, forests, and rivers. OLT also preserves urban green space, agricultural lands, historic places, and sensitive ecological sites. It's nationally accredited by the Land Trust Accreditation Commission. Want to go? What? Earth Day Festival. When? Noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, April 25th. Where? Jordan Valley Park, 635 East Trafficway Street. Tickets, $25, available in advance online or at the gate on Festival Day. And to learn more, visit the Earth Day Festival website or follow the organization on Facebook and Instagram.
And we're broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store in Springfield, Missouri, 2713 North Kansas Expressway, where you will find amazing deals Monday through Saturday from 9 to 6, including veterans receiving a 25% discount every day. Additionally, the store features a weekly clothing sale. All clothing items are available 50% off on Wednesdays, and seniors 55 and older benefit from a 25% discount every Tuesday. And from the Springfield Business Journal, Route 66 Car Museum is slated to close next year. And we see a picture of owner Guy Mace, who has built the Route 66 Car Museum around his own collection of classic cars. The Route 66 Car Museum will be closing in spring 2027. Guy Mace, owner of the Route 66 Car Museum, confirmed that he plans to close the Mother Road attraction next year. He said that an exact closure date would be released in coming weeks. The museum is located at 1634 West College Street and is built around his personal collection of some 70 classic cars, itself purchased at auto auctions, with a few autos belonging to his family members, according to past Springfield Business Journal reporting. Brianne Poland, Director of Marketing and Communications for Meckham Auctions, confirmed by email that Meckham will be auctioning off vehicles in the collection next spring. Poland added, quote, "We are honored to be a partner with the museum and Guy Mace. We can't disclose much at this point, but we can confirm the sale will be in the spring of 2027, and we'll do our best to honor Guy and the legacy he's created." May said about 30 to 40% of his visitors are from outside of the country, and a majority of visitors are from out of town. It's been a nice attraction for Springfield, he said. The car museum is always busy. One museum official said to an SBJ reporter visiting April 17th, he showed a visitor log demonstrating that by 11 a.m. on that Friday, just 2 hours after the museum's opening, there'd already been visitors from multiple states, including Maine, Alaska, and also multiple countries, including France, Italy, Hungary, and Australia. Social media posts by Route 66 travelers frequently tout the museum and its eclectic collection, which begins with a 1979 Gotham Cruiser, the Batmobile, right inside the door, and his vehicles dating all the way back to a 1907 REO runabout. A 2023 SBJ article of the Route 66 Car Museum featured an interview with Mace, who owns the museum through G&D Cars LLC. Mace previously owned Turblex Inc., which made turbo compressors from 1990 to 2007 before selling to German company Siemens. He's also co-owner of Baron Venture Capital LLC and bike rack company Quad Innovations LLC. As I started getting disposable income, I put it into cars because you can't drive, and I have fun with stocks and bonds, he says. No, you can't drive stocks and bonds. He said in a 2023 interview, "I had no ultimate objective to open the museum through the 1990s. I just started buying cars that I liked, and I love going to auctions." Mace told SBJ he thought it would be interesting to open a museum on Route 66. He reported a 2022 visitation total of 12,000, up 40% from the previous year, but said only 10% hailed from Springfield. In contrast, 40% were international visitors. The museum opened from 9 to 5, 7 days a week, according to their website. Manager said it will remain open for visitors till their spring 2027 closure. The museum opened to the public in June of 2016.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, the Cardinals Notebook, Noah Medlinger, Dakota Harris, and Chase Davis have become familiar faces in Springfield. Ambidextrous pitcher and number 5 prospect Gerangelo Sargent, I can't say it, to start Tuesday at Hammonds Field. And there is a photo of Noah Medlinger has climbed from undrafted free agent in 2021 to the AA Springfield Cardinals in 2 seasons. The trio of Noah Medlinger, Dakota Harris, and Chase Davis have been around Springfield long enough to become fan favorites, each playing key roles in helping the Cardinals win the Texas League Championship back in 2025. But being around long enough to be on a first-name basis with regular fans is not exactly ideal for minor league baseball players. It's a profession where upward mobility is the goal, with the GPS set to landing in the big leagues. It's no secret in the minor leagues that you want to keep your journey kind of moving. So, yeah, to come back to Springfield another year, it's part of the process, said Medlinger, who's appeared in 287 games in a Springfield uniform since 2023. No minor leaguer wants to stay in one place for too long, but it's probably one of the best affiliates we have in the organization, and I'm happy to be back, Medlinger said before the team's first homestand of the season. We have a great crowd, a great ballpark, and everything we need to kind of get ready to make that jump for the next level. Just like team results so far this season, results have been spotty for the veterans thus far. After opening the season 4-0, the Cardinals have lost 10-11 and bring a 5-10 record into this week's homestand against South Division leader Midland Athletics affiliate. Tuesday night's series opener is scheduled for 6:05 at Hammons Field. The headline reads, Harris cools after grand slam of a start. And then there's a picture of Springfield Cardinals first baseman Dakota Harris covering the base on Tuesday, April 7, 2006 in Springfield. Harris, a 24-year-old utility player and 11th round draft choice in 2023 out of Oklahoma University, became the first player in team history to hit grand slam home runs in back-to-back games during a 3-game series sweep of Amarillo to open the season. He's batting .204 with 4 home runs and 14 RBIs coming into this week's home series. After hitting 10 home runs with 49 RBIs a year ago, a career high in power in his third AA season, Harris is like Medlinger in having value at playing each infield position and in left field. The Tampa, Florida native has spent most of the offseason in Springfield and worked with Missouri State coach Joey Hawkins, a one-time Cardinals minor league coach, and the Bears. He loves to get in there and help, Harris said of Hawkins. He keeps it real simple. Hawkins said it's always great for his college players to mingle with the pros as the teams share not only Hammons Field, but the Bill Rowe Indoor Training Center. Patrick Anderson came up to me at the end of their year and said, hey, Harris is going to keep living here with his wife in the off-season. He asked if he could train with you, and I said, yeah, no problem, Hawkins said. Harris wound up joining the Bears hitters in group sessions in the weeks leading to his spring training in the Missouri State's regular season. I see him around here a lot, and he's a great kid, very humble, and our guys loved him. They're all rooting for him, Hawkins said. Next headline says, Medlinger keeps putting the work in. Medlinger has been an underdog since signing with the Cardinals in 2021 as an undrafted free agent. He's played 6 positions in 287 games over 4 seasons with Springfield and has hit .299, .282, and .279 in 3 seasons leading into this one. He's at .250 with 1 home run and 3 doubles so far in 2026. Getting to spend most of spring training in big league camp allowed him to absorb knowledge and see major league caliber pitching. There's more experience on that club that you can learn from, and there's a few guys that I've played with at this point that are on the big league club, Medlinger said. So it was good to get back in the dugout with some of the guys that you miss, and good to learn from some of the veterans here. Medlinger, though only 5'9", said it's no secret to producing with more extra base pop is his biggest challenge to keep moving up the minor league chain. When I kind of self-evaluate my game, I think of some of the glaring things are just the slug, he said. I mean, trying to be productive as an everyday player, you gotta slug, you gotta hit doubles and drive runs in. It might not necessarily come in the home run column, just for a guy in my stature, but ultimately finding a way to be productive in the lineup. I pride myself in trying to be as consistent as I can. Ultimately, when you talk about a lot of big league qualities, big league traits, consistency comes to mind as something I can control. So that's what I aim to do and let the cards kind of fall where they may. Anderson said it's comforting and good for Medlinger's value to have a guy who can play all over the field. Being versatile gives him more opportunities, more tools in the bag to be able to help a club out, Anderson said. It's cool to watch what he's done from having him the 4 years he's been here. He has so much versatility. You can play him anywhere. It really helps us out. And the next headline says, Davis looks to make big move. And there's a photo that says Springfield Cardinals center fielder Chase Davis takes a break in between pitches on Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 in Springfield. As the Cardinals' first-round draft choice in 2023 out of the University of Arizona, the 21st overall selection that year has the tools and the swagger of a future big leaguer. It's a matter of putting it all together for Davis, and this might be when it all does. Davis, 24, had a strong last half of 2025 to finish at .242 with 10 home runs and 48 RBIs. The lefty-swinging, lefty-throwing Davis has just one error in the outfield in 134 games during his time in Springfield. Off to a .250 start at the plate this season, Davis has had 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. Even better, he's already walked 14 times with a team-leading .419 on-base percentage. Davis has had a lot of opportunities to play in big league games during spring training and, like with Medlinger and Harris, he soaked up all he could. They don't hold anything back, Davis said of advice from St. Louis veterans, many of whom are former teammates in the minors. They're open books, as it should be. Just like anyone came to me with questions, I would do the same. Just all-around things, Davis added of his points to emphasis, plate discipline in the box, physical things as well. Consistency in the weight room, then in training and in preparation. Just taking it one day at a time because that's all we can do. And that's all we should do. Davis said it's up to everyone in the Cardinals organization with emphasis on developing homegrown talent to be ready for the next opportunity when the time is right. You've got a job to do, and when you get a call, you got to be ready to answer, Davis said. Anderson said putting in the time and work has paid off for many coming through Springfield. For Medlinger, Harris, and Davis, there's no time to despair during a long stay in Springfield. Hundreds of aspiring players would love to be in their shoes. They have a uniform and an opportunity, Anderson said. There's a reason why they're in the organization, why they have some ability to be in the big leagues. It's good to be a Cardinal. Those guys can show some of the younger guys what it's about to be here. Next headline says, ambidextrous pitcher, number 5 prospect to start series. Gerangelo Clemente, St. Louis's number 5 minor league prospect, is scheduled to start the series opener on April 21st against Midland. Clemente is a switch pitcher who primarily throws right-handed and has a 1-1 record. He was acquired from Seattle in the Brendan Donovan trade. And the Cardinals homestand schedule at Hamlin's Field is as follows. April 21st versus Midland at 6:05 p.m. April 22nd versus Midland at 11:15 a.m. April 23rd versus Midland at 6:35 p.m. April 24th versus Midland at 6:35 p.m. April 25th versus Midland at 6:05 p.m. and April 26th versus Midland at 1:15 p.m. And for tickets, call 417-863-2143 or visit springfieldcardinals.com.
From the Springfield Leader, the mayor makes changes to Springfield's campaign finance limits plan. A couple of key points here. Springfield's mayor proposed last-minute changes to a new ordinance capping local campaign contributions. The ordinance would limit individual or PAC direct contributions to just over $2,800 per election cycle from mayoral or council candidates. One change in the mayor's version removes local enforcement for failure to report, relying instead on the Missouri Ethics Commission. A Springfield City Council committee spent months researching and creating systems for how the city could cap the amount donors can contribute to local city candidate campaigns. The proposal to limit campaign contributions is nearing a full council vote, but Monday night the ordinance approved in committee was substituted with another, which included several substantial changes by Mayor Jeff Schrag. The overall limits are remaining intact. The ordinance would prohibit individuals or PAC committees from contributing more than $2,825 per election cycle to individuals running for Springfield mayor or council seats. Currently, no law or ordinance limits contributions to council candidate campaigns in Springfield, making the Queen City the largest city in Missouri without such caps. The addition of limits has been welcomed by several local groups and drew in 16 speakers at the meeting on Monday, April 20th. However, the details of the bill regarding how these limits would be enforced and by whom were changed by Schrag. The substitute bill brought forth by the mayor was approved in a 7-2 vote with council members Monica Horton and Brandon Jensen in opposition. The bill had not been shared with council members before Monday. Schrag said his goal with the changes was to align with state law and get rid of duplications from what the Missouri Ethics Commission has already overseen. When the mayor was asked why he bypassed the committee process with the changes, he said he had, quote, no good excuse for doing that. But here are the changes. Limits index with inflation is the first headline. While the original ordinance would have strictly capped local campaign contributions to that $2,825 mark, the substitute put forth by Schrag makes this the base amount to then be adjusted per the Consumer Price Index every 4 years. This is the same way the state adjusts its contribution limits. Previously, some council members had raised questions around increasing the limit for in-kind donations to be beyond the $2,825. This point was mostly made regarding billboards that are often donated in kind to help candidates with name recognition, but that cost more than the limit would allow. Both the original and substitute bills still keep in mind contributions at the same limit. City Attorney Jordan Powell also clarified that the limit would apply to monetary and in-kind contributions combined under the current language. Several speakers addressing council Monday night expressed opposition to carving out in-kind donations to be at a higher limit, raising concerns that doing so would take away from the effectiveness of the caps as a whole. While discussed, no amendment was brought forth by council members to add a different limit for in-kind donations. The next headline, failure to report punted to the Missouri Ethics Commission. Schrag's proposal removed the failure to report contributions from being a local violation. He noted that already falls under state regulations and is enforced by the MAC. Under state law, the MAC can only take action when it has a quorum and at least 4 affirmative votes are cast. The oversight body has long since struggled with the lack of quorum, which prevents it from adequately addressing ethics complaints. Currently, the 6-member commission has 3 vacancies, with the seats recently reaching their term limits. Both Horton and Jensen, as well as several speakers, were uneasy about removing the local guardrail and leaving enforcement in the hands of the MAC. Jensen had raised questions about adding a provision to allow the city to enforce the failures to report locally if MEC is unable to do so. Quote, "I hesitate to rely on a body that's not doing its job to regulate us," he says. Enforcement shifted from new commission to existing one. A large portion of the discussion in the Plans and Policies Committee surrounded the enforcement mechanism and ways that the city would efficiently investigate potential violations of the proposed rules without being too onerous on the staff. The committee, with the guidance of the city's attorney, decided on a system similar to those present in Kansas City and St. Louis, a city ethics commission. The original ordinance would have created a new 9-person citizen commission appointed by council to oversee election campaign finances and be charged with investigating violations. Schrag's bill instead places this responsibility on the already established Citizens Tax Oversight Committee. The committee reviews and monitors the city's tax revenues, and those serving on the committee tasked with enforcing limits would be precluded from contributing to or participating in any manner in the election campaign of a city candidate while on the committee and for a year afterward. To allow current Citizens Tax Oversight Committee time to resign if they wish to either run for office themselves or support someone in doing so, council added that the bill would become effective 30 days after passage. And complaint rules changed. The new proposal would also make several changes to the complaint system. It clarifies that complaints of possible violations can only be made by people residing within city limits. Also, another way to align the ordinance with state proceedings, the new bill would not accept any new complaints nor allow the committee to initiate its own investigation within 15 days before a city election. The new proposal retains the 2-year look-back period, however, for the committee to investigate possible violations. And the ordinance provided by Schrag also includes a provision that the committee has not made a decision within 180 days of a complaint being filed, it will automatically be dismissed. The original proposal did not include an automatic dismissal and also required a written explanation for why the committee needs more than 90 days to issue a decision. While the newest ordinance would still task the committee with issuing a decision within 90 days and allow this time to be extended to another 90 days for good cause shown, it wouldn't require a written statement. Overall, all speakers addressing council Monday night were in support of capping local election contributions. Many emphasized the need to ensure the everyday person feels they are on equal footing against corporate interests and stay engaged in local politics. "We believe campaigns should focus on issues, not fundraising," said Kai Sutton, president of the local NAACP chapter. "When reasonable limits are in place, candidates can spend more time engaging with voters and addressing real community needs instead of chasing large checks. Elections become about policy solutions, not money. The limits would only apply to city council and mayor races, not school board or county office campaigns. And at its next meeting on May 4th, council will continue its public hearing and is expected to make a final vote on campaign finance limits."
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, the headline reads, "Big Mike and Pat's Missouri State standout forward Michael Osei Bonsu to pursue college football. After concluding basketball career, all CUSA talent will reportedly enter transfer portal to pursue football." And they have a picture here. Missouri State's Michael Osei-Bonsu recovers a loose ball against Florida International at Great Southern Bank Arena in Springfield on January 10th, 2026. After averaging 15.2 points, 7.4 rebounds, and totaling 26 blocks on his way to All-Conference USA distinction as a senior this past season, Missouri State forward Michael Osei-Bonsu has opted to continue his college athletic career on the gridiron. ESPN's Pete Thanel reported Monday that the 6'4", 280-pound Osei-Bonsu has entered the NCAA transfer portal to pursue football, a sport he has never played competitively. He is currently an MSU student who is set to graduate in May with a degree in psychology. A common sentiment by fans during Osei-Bonsu's time in Springfield was that he had the aesthetic and motor of a high-level defensive lineman. That may come to fruition. He plans to play defensive tackle or tight end, Thamel posted on X, formerly Twitter, which was shared by Osei-Bonsu. He'll be represented by Buddy Baker at exclusive sports groups. A message to Osei-Bonsu by the Daily Citizen was not immediately returned. Osei-Bonsu, who reportedly has a 35-inch vertical leap, averaged 11 points and 7.4 rebounds as a junior at MSU during the 2024-2025 season after an All-American junior college career at Vincennes, Indiana. One of the shortest forwards at the Division I level, Osei-Bonsu's mix of strength, athleticism, explosiveness, and sure hands often made him a force against mid-major foes. Osei-Bonsu scored 31 points on 14 of 16 shooting in his penultimate game at MSU, a 77-69 Conference USA Tournament quarterfinal upset of top-seeded Liberty in March. MSU head coach Cuonzo Martin, who previously had the same job at Tennessee, Cal, and Mizzou, has said that Big Mike is the strongest player he has ever coached. When we get into games at the jump, some teams are like, whoa, he's kind of short, former MSU guard Des White said last season. But then their big man can't do much against them because he's strong and low to the ground. It's kind of neat to see. Former Western Kentucky forward George Faint, 6'5", 295 pounds, played his entire hoops career with the Hilltoppers, 2011 to 2015, before opting to play football tight end his fifth year, a sport he didn't play in high school. He is currently an offensive lineman for the Washington Commanders. Several athletes with basketball backgrounds without taking a college snap have made similar moves over the years, including six-time Pro Bowl selection Antonio Gates, 6'4", 255 pounds, famously made the move to football in 2003 after a standout basketball career at Kent State. After leading his team to the Final Four in 2006, George Mason forward Jai Lewis signed an undrafted free agent contract with the New York Giants. Most recently, former Coastal Carolina forward Colin Granger, 6'8", and former Notre Dame forward Carson Tout, 6'7", two players with no high school football experience, signed NFL free agent contracts.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, Missouri Treasurer's Office posted Missouri Scholars student data on website. A couple of key points here. Since at least May 2025, students' names, parents' email addresses, scholarship funding amounts, and schools students attend have been published on the Missouri State Treasurer's Office website. The Treasurer's Office says the data on its website is, quote, not generally considered harmful or an invasion of privacy if disclosed. Missouri legislators have called the incident, quote, a massive oversight, as well as part of a pattern of incompetence. The Missouri State Treasurer's Office inadvertently posted a directory of students enrolled in the state's private school voucher program on its website for almost a year, even as it repeatedly denied lawmakers' requests for the same information. The data, which covered the first 3 years of the Missouri Scholars Program, included the names, parents' email addresses, scholarship funding amounts, schools they attended. After being notified by the Independent last week, the Treasurer's Office removed the records from its website, which date back to at least May 2025. The office confirmed in a statement to The Independent Monday that a spreadsheet on its website, quote, could be manipulated to reveal what it describes as, quote, directory information. This data is not generally considered harmful or an invasion of privacy if disclosed, the office told The Independent in an emailed statement. And what follows is a picture of State Treasurer Vivek Malik speaking during a rally. The state treasurer's office has long maintained that the data is not public and may be withheld under the Missouri Sunshine Law. Organizations facilitating Missouri scholarships and families can be confident that the office takes data protection seriously as part of its ongoing efforts to responsibly administer a growing statewide program and will continue to ensure that all sensitive data remains adequately protected, it said. The disclosure raises fresh questions about how State Treasurer Vivek Malik's office is managing Mo Scholars, a politically divisive program that now receives $50 million in state funding. The records were contained in a file posted on the Treasurer's website that included embedded data making the student information accessible. The law governing Mo Scholars requires annual public reporting on certain aspects of the program, but says that no personally identifiable information of any student may be posted on the website. State Senator Rick Bratton, a Republican from Harrisonville and chairman of the Senate Education Committee, called the incident a massive oversight, but he stopped short of blaming Malik, who endorsed Bratton's congressional campaign in March. I truly like Vivek, he said. He does a great job for all the tasks that he'd asked to do, Bratton told The Independent, but I do know people are human and they do screw up. At the same time, regardless of screw-ups, we need to make sure that all these things are buttoned down. State Senator Leader Doug Beck, a Democrat from Afton and frequent critic of the Mo Scholars program, told The Independent he's asked for a directory of participants but had been repeatedly denied. The Treasurer's office accidentally publishing the data, he said, is part of a pattern of incompetence. I personally don't think the program should be in the Treasurer's office. As we've seen it, I don't think they're capable of running this program. And this is not the first time information related to Mo Scholars has been posted online and later removed. In 2024. The Independent published a story identifying top donors to the program using public data on Missouri's transparency portal. The Treasurer's office did not know the information was online and wiped it from the state-run website in a matter of days. Jackson Bailey, the Treasurer's chief of staff, called the 2024 incident a clerical error. And last year, the state auditor's office reported that the treasurer had failed to conduct annual audits of Mo Scholars, which is required by state law. Additionally, the audit found the treasurer's office did not have procedures to adequately review or monitor annual reports from the organizations to administer the scholarships. Mo Scholars has been a point of contention since it was first created in 2021, first using a tax credit model that allowed donors to deduct contributions from their tax liabilities. In 2025, lawmakers voted to infuse the program with $50 million of general revenue, allowing it to triple in size. To account for this growth, Malik asked for 4 additional full-time staff members to help administer the Mo Scholars program in his proposed budget for the next year.
All right, from the Springfield Daily Citizen, the headline reads, GoFundMe launches to help Fresh Gallery stay afloat during Renew Jordan Creek construction. The owner of the gallery estimates that traffic is down 95 to 98% as construction continues on the Renew Jordan Creek project. And here we have a picture showing the Fresh Gallery as work on Renew Jordan Creek continues. Businesses in the area like Fresh Gallery are dealing with reduced parking, foot traffic, and more. A GoFundMe has been started to help the gallery stay open until construction is complete. The suggestion was a joke, but you couldn't blame Jennifer Hyde for considering it. Why not use a helicopter to drop shoppers into Fresh Gallery at 401 Boonville Avenue? That might be the best way to get there right now. Fresh Gallery has a front row seat to work on Renew Jordan Creek downtown. What it doesn't have at the moment is car access, parking, visibility, and foot traffic as the ambitious renewal project continues. Who wouldn't want to be right next to a brand new park attraction, Hyde said on April 15th. Who wouldn't want to be on the cusp of something new and great? But it is not new and great right now, to be truthful, and it's become increasingly more challenging. It's noisy, it's messy, there are cranes and dump trucks carrying gravel through the road, and the road is part of the construction zone. So it's not just beside us, it's literally on top of us. Renew Jordan Creek will daylight portions of the stream downtown, giving it a natural shoreline and an urban plaza with tree-lined pedestrian walkways. The project also aims to solve nearly 2 centuries of flooding problems and rehabilitate a stressed stream. Construction got underway in December 2024 with a groundbreaking ceremony on March 14, 2025. Work on Phase 1 is expected to wrap up in late 2026. The headline reads, they have an 8-block detour if they know how to get around the construction. And then there is a picture of Jennifer Hyde, new owner of the Fresh Gallery on Boonville Avenue in Springfield, on Monday, November 11th, 2024. Hyde, who purchased Fresh Gallery in 2024 and brought in a new business model, wants to keep the doors open to see the project pay off. With that in mind, a friend of the gallery has launched a GoFundMe online fundraiser. As of 11 a.m. on April 16th, it had raised $400 toward a goal of $25,000. For a small retailer gallery that relies on foot traffic, it's been devastating, the GoFundMe reads. This level of disruption is not sustainable without community support. While the city moves forward with a project that will ultimately transform the downtown, existing businesses like Fresh Gallery are struggling just to survive the transformation. Money raised by the GoFundMe will help cover essential operating expenses and support the Springfield area artists who are part of the gallery. Hyde said traffic at the store is down 95% to 98%. The longtime entrepreneur calls it the single most difficult challenge I've ever had to get to the other side of. Most of our visitors who are pedestrians, whether the tourists or people out walking around downtown, they have an 8-block detour.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank you so much for listening today to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. And please tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel, beginning at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. And remember, you can listen after we're live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can contact the Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And we invite you to shop our thrift store. Again, it is located at 2713 North Kansas Expressway. You'll find amazing deals, including 50% off clothing on Wednesdays.
The time is